going to toss this coin, and there's a 50% chance it'll be tails and a 50% chance it will be heads. I've got heads. Now, the next time I toss the coin, it's another 50% chance to be heads or tails. This time I got tails. But as a distinct event, what are the chances that I will throw 2 heads in a row or 3 heads in a row? Well, to find that odd, we need to take the 50% chance, which is 1 over 2, and times it by itself, which gives us 1 over 4. That's the chance of throwing 2 consecutive heads or 2 consecutive tails. Failed again. If I want to throw 3 consecutive heads or tails, it's 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1, 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So I have a 1 in 8 chance of throwing 3 consecutive heads whenever I attempt to do so. Why am I talking about the odds of consecutive events occurring when I'm standing in front of a pool table? Well, let's talk about that. Hi everyone, welcome back to Diamond Dave's Billiards. Before I get into the details of why the chance of consecutive events occurring is relevant to the pool table, let me give a little bit of context to this discussion. I was talking to a friend online a few nights ago, and he asked me my high run in straight pool, and that led to us discussing little Chris's series, his Road to 100 that he streams live. And my friend mentioned that Chris had got to initially around 40 as his high run, and then after several months got to 79, I think, and had been stuck there for quite some time. And 79 is fantastic. Straight pool is a difficult game despite all the high numbers we've been seeing lately. My friend then asked me, why is it apparently so difficult to go from 80 to 100 when he went from 40 to 80 relatively quickly? I think the answer to that question is actually quite relevant to the way we practice and the way we choose our shots on the pool table. Let me demonstrate what I'm talking about with an example in straight pool. So here we have a situation that's fairly common in straight pool. Now, each time we approach the table, we have to assess the table for problems that we need to solve. Now, in this case, we have a cluster of balls here that will need to be broken up, and we have 2 balls on the rail, the 3 and the 13, that will at some point also need to be broken up. And this situation is very common in straight pool. Quite often you'll have a couple of balls that are clustered on the rail that at some point you will need to dislodge to keep the break moving. Fortunately, in this situation, we have the 15 ball, which is in the perfect position to break up the 3 and the 13. And we also have a shot on the 1, which leads us perfectly to the 15. Let's hypothetically say that this player has a 50% chance of solving this problem correctly. That is, to play the 1 into the corner, to land low on the 15, and then execute the cannon correctly on the 3 and the 13 to land on the 9 into this corner. So the first part of the sequence has been solved, landing low on the 15. And now I just need to cannon these balls pretty much anywhere, and I should stay on the 9. Okay, so I've managed to land on the correct side of my 50% chance of solving this problem. I've broken these balls up, I've landed on the 9, I can break the pack open on my next shot and keep the run going. What if on the road to make a 50 break, I have to perform a sequence like this twice? Well, each time I approach the sequence, I have a 50% chance of succeeding, but taken as a whole during the run, it's no longer a 50% chance. I only have a 1 in 4 chance or a 25% chance of successfully completing this problem twice in a row. Now, hypothetically speaking, if we have to solve a problem like this 4 times in the road to 100, our chances of successfully completing that 4 times in a row becomes 1 in 16. Every time we have to consecutively solve a problem like this, the chances of us doing that in one run become less and less as the points go on. Okay, so I've set the balls up again in the same position, and instead of the hypothetical player who has a 50% chance, I'll talk about myself. In this situation, I think I'm probably 10 out of 10 to solve this problem. So this particular situation will never cause me to break down on the run to 100. However, if I remove this 9 ball, the problem becomes a lot more difficult. Now I can't cannon these balls just anywhere I please because I don't have the 9 to save me. I need to be a lot more strategic in how I go about dealing with this. If I hit the 3 a little bit too low, there's a chance that I could smother myself and not see one of these balls or the 3. So Instead, I have to specifically hit the 13, hopefully pushing the 13 out of the way, letting the white run on and perhaps being on the 3 or in the 2 or on the 2 or the 14 into the side or the corner. Now, it's painful to say this, but I'm probably not 100% chance of solving this correctly. So again, that's the first part solved, landing low on the 15. And now I'm going to try to cannon this 13 underneath and leave myself a shot on the 3 or one of these two balls. Okay, so this time I managed to solve the problem successfully. I got the correct cannon on the 13. I've left myself a choice of shots here or on the 3 to keep the run going. Simply by giving myself a 9 out of 10 chance to solve that problem, I've increased massively the odds that if I encounter a problem like this 2 or 3 times in the run to 100, at some point I'm going to break down. And I know the math is not strictly applicable to the pool table, but I think it gives us a general guide. So let's say my chance of solving this problem is 9 out of 10. If I have to do it twice, 9 by 9 is 81, 10 by 10 is 100. Suddenly the chances of me solving this consecutively twice in a run to 100, instead of being 9 out of 10, is now 8 out of 10. And each time I encounter a problem like that, there's a higher and higher chance that it's going to end my run. To answer the question of why I believe it's so much harder to run from 80 to 100, which is only 20 points, as compared to 40 to 80, which is 40 points, it's because each time you encounter a situation that you are not guaranteed to solve, the chance that you break down becomes higher and higher. And so once you start pushing up into those higher numbers and you're pushing the limits of your ability to succeed, there's a higher and higher chance that you won't succeed and you'll play the shot incorrectly. This isn't just applicable to straight pool, it's also applicable to rotation, 9 ball, 10 ball, 8 ball, 1 pocket, any game, and many other different sports as well. For example, assuming these balls aren't here, and I'm playing 9 ball. I have a pot on the 1 here. I'm probably going to attempt to pot this medium distance 1 in the corner, come off the short rail and come back up for the 2. If I have a 70% chance of playing this shot correctly, and I have to play a shot like this twice to successfully run out a rack of 9 ball, what are the odds I can do that? Well, the first shot is 7 in 10, but to do it twice, 7 by 7 is 49, 10 by 10 is 100. Suddenly, the chances of me successfully running out this rack of 9 ball have become 50%. I'm not odds on to win anymore. I think this perspective is actually really important. For me, in my 25 years of playing cue sports, some of the biggest improvements I've had in my game have been to do with how I've approached certain aspects of the game. They haven't actually been physical changes to my mechanics or to my technique, rather a shift in perspective in the way I view practice or the way I view mechanics or technique. And this perspective, I think, could be really interesting for a lot of players because it really affects how we approach percentages, not just percentages in our ability to pot a ball, but into play position or safety or even when to take a ball on. It's also a really powerful demonstration of why it's so important to practice your weaknesses and to practice specific skills. Because every time you add a percent to your ability to solve a problem successfully, you drastically increase your ability to run out a rack or to reach 100 in your straight pool or to reach 200 or 300. So next time you're working on your technique and potting long straight pots off the spot and you achieve 7 out of 10, don't get complacent and think that's good enough. It's not good enough. If you have to do it once to achieve whatever your goal may be on the pool table, sure, you have a 70% chance of succeeding. The odds are on you accomplishing that task. If you have to do it twice in a row, it becomes a 50% chance that you'll successfully complete this twice in a row. But what about if you have to play a long pot 3 times in whatever goal you're trying to achieve? Well, the percentage chance of you achieving that becomes 35%. You can see how quickly that factor contributes to eventual failure, the farther you are away from a 100% strike rate. When you're on the table, don't just hit the balls round, don't just play games, focus on skills that you know you are weak at, focus on skills that you want to improve, because every increase in your ability to successfully perform that skill drastically increases your chance of accomplishing your goal. Now, remember, we just looked at one example. This is applicable to every single shot you play. The more consistent you are on every single skill, the greater your chance of accomplishing your goals on the pool table. Okay guys, thanks for watching. This was a very quick impromptu video. I'm currently working on a very long video about practice that is taking me many hours to edit. So while these ideas were running around in my brain, I thought this little perspective on percentages and playing to percentages might be interesting for some people. As always, thank you very much for watching, and if you've learned something or enjoyed what I've presented, then please feel free to hit that like or sub button. It really helps out and motivates me to keep creating content. Until next time, get out there and enjoy playing some pool. Ciao.